You're listening to The Mountain Gardener with local expert Ken Lane. Mountain gardening can be challenging, but with Ken's tips, tricks, and garden advice, you'll reap huge rewards. Now welcome back to The Mountain Gardener.
And welcome to The Mountain Gardener. This is your host, Ken Lane. We talk every week about the landscapes of northern Arizona. And this has been beautiful weather. I've had the top down on the car a few times. It's just really nice. Jackets are coming off because you got to dress in layers because it's just so nice. That's why we live here. It's perfect. 4 seasons, but very mild. Now, we will get some moisture, I hope. Sometimes I have to take that back. It could be like last year's. Many times, our landscapes in northern Arizona, it's almost like a desert time. It's almost like a dryness that happens in the winter. And that's quite honestly when most of the damage happens in the landscape. It gets real dry. Your plant, you've turned that system off, 2 months ago, 3 months ago. Now it's February and all of a sudden it hasn't had any moisture. Then we finally do get some cold where we're going down into that 20, teens, single digits up in the higher elevations. And then it damages the tops of many trees. So watch that. I was walking around my own gardens this morning, and I'm noticing that the rats and the mice are chewing at my 1/4-inch distribution line or spaghetti line. That's that thinner line. Now, if you've got drip irrigation, you've got a valve coming off your main water line. They've got 1/2-inch line, distribution line going out through the yard, and then you tap into that 1/2-inch line like a hose with a 1/4-inch spaghetti line. And so that goes out actually to the plant and waters it. Now, the mice and rats are nibbling on that. And so I ran my irrigation yesterday, and I was finding some plants that were dry. I'm going, what the heck? What's going on with this? I turn it on, I look at it, and lo and behold, the mice had eaten that line in 2. They were after the moisture, or they're just bored. I don't know what they're doing, but they're doing damage. So it's real easy to reconnect them, but you might want to watch that in your own yard. That could be, you think, you cycle that irrigation on in the middle of the day. You think that it's doing your plants good, and then it's just flowing down the hill because the mice ate the tip of that drip emitter off. Watch that one. Now, this week, I caught 1 rat and 2 mice. So it's like an ongoing battle. It's like continually. It's not unusual for me to catch a vermin of some sort at least once a week of some sort. You'd think eventually I would get ahead of this. And I didn't catch anything really in the last couple of weeks. All of a sudden I had 3 out of the blue. So they were the ones eating the line. So hopefully I got rid of my issues. But watch that. They're actively out there. It's not like they hibernate and they are gone. You just went indoors and haven't seen them for a while. So I bait the front yard and I trap in the backyard where the dogs are. I don't want to risk having the dogs get into any kind of poison or baits or anything else. So I'm very sensitive with that. But traps, in fact, I found a little secret. Pumpkin seeds. Rats and mice, they cannot resist pumpkin seeds. They go wild for it. They just have to have it. So I was using peanut butter, and then I ran out of that, or I just went, pumpkin seeds. I have some of these. I'll try that. And lo and behold, they just went after it gung-ho. And so that's one, if you're having trouble baiting a rat trap, and I only use rat traps. I don't use a mouse trap. It's just because if I get a rat in it, it doesn't get rid of them. But a good rat trap is sensitive enough to take out a rat and then also do a mouse in as well. So kind of watch that one. You should be watering your landscape at least once a month. I really suggest twice a month. I try to do twice a month. The trees and the shrubs, the big things. And I just give them a deep soak on a nice sunny afternoon, and they're just so happy. The color stays good on them. It helps tide them over until we do actually see some snow. It looks like there might be a chance for some weather this week. It looks like even Christmas Day it might happen. Wouldn't that be nice? So, but if it doesn't, or if we just get a skiff of snow, that's not enough to really make your plants happy. So you need to really watch your plants. Take care of your plants in the winter, because it can be a desert, a dry spell in the mountains of Arizona. We can really have a real dry, nothing happen, no moisture. And so March, typically we'll see another uptick in moisture count. So it's typically a wet month for us, but you just never know. Whatever you do, don't believe the weatherman. He's always wrong. So it just seems to be he's been swinging back and forth going, this is going to be a wetter than normal winter. And then he went to, this is going to be a drier than warmer. This is going to be warmer than normal. This is going to be colder. Going, how can you change your mind that much? You've got these fancy algorithms that tell you what to do. The computer models aren't forecasting well enough. So just kind of watch that one. Your flowers. I'm seeing that manzanita, they're growing. They're actually pushing new leaves. They're in bloom. I'm seeing that, what else? The pansies, violas, the kales are looking tremendous. They look great. And so they're actively growing right now. So water those a little bit more often than twice a month. I'm doing it about once a week. So that seems to take the edge off for them. Again, you don't have to water as much this time of year because it's cool. They just don't dry out as fast. But when you do water them, water it thoroughly. So for my containers, I water them until I see water dripping out the bottom of the plant, out the bottom of the container. Then I know, I've watered the entire root ball. So now I'm set for 10 days or so. The plants will let you know. Actually, I've found that pansies and violas are really, really good at telling you when your plants need to be watered because they're so talkative. They just lay down going, I'm dry and I'm cold. And if you don't take care of me, I'm going to die on you. And so they're really good. And then you water them. They perk right back up and go, thank you. I'm so happy. And so that's one to kind of, certain plants out there are telling you when the rest of the landscape needs water as well. They're kind of the leading indicator or the canary in the coal mine. So kind of watch that one. It's a good time. In fact, we've got company coming over, a lot of company, lots of family, friends coming over for the holidays. And we wanted to dress up our containers. So the peonies have died right back to the ground. They look terrible. So I went, okay, that's having dead things to greet people. That's not good. So I cut those things off and I'm planting a few pansies. I took some strawberries home. They're growing. They're actively looking good. They have those long tendrils. You can put those out towards the front edge of a container. It just dresses them up immediately. Looks like your containers are overflowing with life and vitality. And so I just put a few of those in. A few kales, some calendula. That is my favorite right now. Calendula has an orange or a yellow flower. Very pretty, about the size of a silver dollar, large silver dollar. And it just blooms and blooms and blooms. It loves the cold. It's kind of right there with the pansies and the kales, the dusty millers. They like the coolness that winter offers them. I also noticed, this is something I looked at my yuccas. They have aphids on them. Going, what the heck? It looks like they're dry. I know I just watered. What's going on? And I looked deep down into them. There's some ladybugs on there. So they're active. Like these aphids are sucking the life out of my yuccas. So I sprayed them with some triple action and they'll be gone. So that's watch that. Don't go inside for the winter and ignore and just forget your landscape. Go out and take a cup of coffee and walk the yard, take a look, turn the irrigation on, see if there's any leaks. If you've had vermin coming out and nibbling on the pipes, the distribution tubing, watch that. So we're going to go deep into how to care for plants because we're into pruning season right now. It's the beginning. So you can start at the holidays. Usually right after the new year, I'm really pushing, you gotta prune. So I want to mention that. We'll bring Lisa into the studio, get your garden questions, and we'll go over how to prune and what to prune. I won't go that deep. I'll dedicate a whole show to that. But I can sure get you started and in the right direction. And so you're really a pro pretty quick. So we'll take a quick break, then have Lisa back in, get your garden questions. Don't turn that dial. We'll be right back with a lot of garden tips, tricks, and garden advice.
You're listening to local garden expert Ken Lane, also known as the Mountain Gardener. Ken can be found throughout the week at Waters Garden Center in Prescott. Listen each week as he answers timely garden questions unique to mountain landscapes.
Okay, maybe after decades of the same fruitcake exchange, it's time to start a new holiday tradition.
A living Christmas tree from Waters Garden Center can be decorated and enjoyed for a lifetime, not just a season.
When the holiday festivities end, gather family and friends and plant your tree together for years of enjoyment. Or Waters will plant it for you, guaranteed.
As your family tree grows, have a tree that grows with your family. From Waters Garden Center, 1815 Iron Springs Road in Prescott. Hi, Lisa here with the plants of the week and our Sunshine Daydream Abelia.
Pink and white flowers continually cover this brightly yellow shrub. Very pretty.
Requires less maintenance than all the other cultivars with a compact, creamy foliage.
At $34, it's a garden designer's dream bloomer that takes heat, wind, and blooms even longer with a bit of midday shade.
Waters Garden Center, 1815 Iron Springs Road in Prescott. For people who love easy perennials, love to shop.
You're listening to The Mountain Gardener with local expert Ken Lane. Mountain gardening can be challenging, but with Ken's tips, tricks, and garden advice, you'll reap huge rewards. Now welcome back to The Mountain Gardener.
We are back in the studio. We've got Lisa Waters Lane here with your garden questions. She comes in, and it's just good to hear what other folks are asking. Welcome to the studio, Lisa.
Well, thank you.
So we've got the holidays are coming. The grandkids are going to be here in hours. Here's the big news.
What's that?
Our daughter is bringing home her man to meet the family.
She's going to be so thrilled.
I'm actually nervous. I know the entire community knows. Oh, yeah, you must be John.
Poor guy doesn't know what's coming.
You guys have married off daughters before. You know what this is all about, right? It's nerve-wracking. So we won't share the story about my first son-in-law. We're at the beach in San Diego with the entire family. I've been surfing all day. I am beat. I just want to eat a little lunch, sleep. I'm just exhausted. Mm-hmm. And then Jeremy goes, so, Mr. Lane, you want to go for a walk? And I'm going, no. You sure? Like, it looks pretty interesting down that way. I'm going, I'm tired. I'm just going to sit here and eat and sleep. And all of you girls raise up, beaming, looking at me going, oh, you idiot. What are you thinking? You know he wants to ask you a question.
Yes.
And we walk like 2 miles down the beach and goes, can I marry your daughter? Sure. Now, can I have another sandwich? No, wasn't that bad.
Yes, it was.
Great
no,
guy.
It was. Oh, he's a wonderful guy. But yeah, you were either very quiet or clueless. That's a good word.
I'm a man. I don't pick up. I picked up when it was times 5 women looking at me, bikini clad on the beach on their towels, just kind of going. Whoa. I'm going. Something's up. I missed a cue. Something's wrong here. So I got it.
Well, we'll hope that won't happen the next time. Not that
We'll see.
I don't think that's what's coming up.
I don't either. Just bringing him home to see us. So that's good.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
Should
I'm
be.
glad she's comfortable enough. We're going to bring him home and show him off.
Yes, it's quite the thing to have to meet the family. The family.
Family. We can be loud and Lane both start with L, is what we say. So we can be very gregarious and outgoing. Yes. So anyway, we've got garden questions going on. So what's going on there?
Well, Daniel has a question. He has brand new photinia that he had planted in the fall.
Yeah.
Got a problem. The deer have found
them. Oh, no.
them.
Yeah.
And he wants to know, is that going to be a continual problem probably throughout the rest of the winter? And if so, what does he do to help them and prevent deer eating and all that good stuff?
So we do have some sprays you can put on there. So deer repellents. We've got several very good ones. The one I think really works well this time of year is Repels All. That's the name of it. It's put together by Bonide. Now it's here at the store. It comes in several different sizes. We get the liquid variety. It comes in a granular and a liquid. Get the liquid one. Spray the foliage, and it gives it this garlicky, rotten egg kind of taste and smell that they don't like. Right. So that'll keep the pressure off until spring comes. So the vermin, deer, rabbits, rats, mice, they're very hungry. They're desperate. Their usual plants that they eat are now they've dried up. Literally, they've dried up and then they've died back, and so there's less for them to eat, and so there's pressure. They're not going to starve to death. They're going to keep grazing until spring comes, usually in April. There's this pressure for the next 3 months or so of deer coming back to eat it. So it's going to be a continual thing. Once photinias start to get up to size, I mean, we're talking 10 feet tall, I think they still eat them, but they're just so big that there's so much foliage, you just don't see as much pressure. But
Right.
deer do like photinia. So if that really is a problem, they continue to eat it back to the ground and it kills the plant, go with cotoneaster, go with silverberry, there's several others that are completely deer proof. I mean, I'd almost go proof, native kind of plants you can go with. So you're right there where this herd is coming at you. Probably your neighbors are feeding the deer. You shouldn't do that, people. It's just it's causing
Yeah. What do you think
issues.
of fencing them off for a while? Is that a viable
You could do that.
solution?
Yeah, they make deer fencing or field fencing just to keep them out of that area. Yeah, absolutely. Anything to keep them off. The easiest, of course, is repellents. Just spritz them.
Sure.
You know, $8 and you're done. And hopefully that's it. If they still keep coming at you, then fencing would be the next approach.
Yeah. Okay. Next question is from Linda. She's new from a area that had a much warmer climate. She's noticed that a lot of her junipers or cotoneas, things in her yard, are definitely developing more of a brown or rust cast to them, coloring to them.
Yeah.
And so her question is that normal? Are they okay? Or are they stressed and something wrong?
Thing to watch would be to water them. So if you haven't watered them this winter, that could be part of it. They're just browning. They're drying out. It's not unusual. We're at our shortest days of the year right now. So the photosynthesis, just the sheer amount of sunlight, is the angle's real low and the days are real short, and it just doesn't have enough photosynthesis. And so many plants will get this different cast to them, especially the ones that she was talking about. Junipers will do that. Euonymus will do that. What else? There's quite a few that'll. Cotoneasters will do that. Absolutely. Get more of a purple or red hue. Yeah, there you go. There's quite a few of them. So it's normal. I wouldn't be concerned just what the question. I'm not going, alarms are going off, going, oh my gosh. Just some things to watch would be fertilized in the winter. So your evergreens really appreciate a New Year's kind of nutrients. It'll keep them greener. And then make sure you water them at least once each month. Every month, water at least one time. We suggest twice, 2 times a month. Pick a nice bright day and take the hose out there and water them real good.
Yeah. I was walking by the neighbors this morning and he was down on the ground, and I'm like, well, what's he doing? Well, he was turning off his irrigation system, his valves and stuff.
Yeah.
And I just thought, oh my, I hope that,
Yeah.
I get it. People worry about their systems freezing, but, you got to water those plants.
You can always take the hose out, to drain the backflow preventer, and you shut down the system, but then drag the hose out, once a month and you need some fresh air. You need to be out there. So take the hose and go commune with the plants. They'll be happy.
Okay. Our next question is from Julie. She has a amaryllis bulb that she got for Christmas. It's blooming, beautiful, yada, yada. Wants to know when it's done blooming, can she plant that outside here, or is it the wrong environment?
Absolutely not. You cannot plant that outdoors here. If it freezes, it will be dead. So it's a very tropical kind of plant. And they're actually very difficult to rebloom. So they're notorious for just coming up with green and no flower the following year. It needs continued darkness at night, needs to be cool at night. They would grow if you got a friend down in Phoenix or Black Canyon City or Tucson or a more tropical climate. It would actually grow there. You could plant it outdoors. Whether it would rebloom again, I don't know. I would suggest probably not, or it takes a real gardener to really bring it out. There's a way to do it. We've got a handout we could give to you if you want to learn how to get things to rebloom. That's Christmas cactus, poinsettias, or amaryllis. It's a sheet with how to make Christmas plants rebloom. Come in and ask for it. It's free. But don't plant it outdoors. If you're going to do that, don't waste your time. Just take it directly into the dumpster and don't waste you could plant it indoors, though. It's a very pretty house plant.
Yeah.
You could put it in a big pretty pot and plant it there and be a nice big foliage to it. And I would suggest that. And maybe next summer or when we're done with frost, then go use it outdoors on the patio or something. But if it won't winter over for us.
What about those? His name escapes me. What are the ones that are real fragrant? They're like in the daffodils.
Narcissus?
Yes.
Daffodils? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Will those go outside?
Narcissus, no. Daffodils, yes. They are related. They're cousins.
Paperwhites. Yeah.
Paperwhites,
Yeah.
paperwhites. You just don't see paperwhites blooming out in the yard. You just don't see that because they get killed back. So they're more for houseplants. They're more of a tropical kind of plant. But daffodils do exceptionally well. Tulips do exceptionally well. Crocus, hyacinth, you got all these other, lilies, dahlias, they do really well. They'll come back and rebloom for you. But most of these holiday plants, they're grown in a greenhouse. They're forced to bloom right now for the holidays. And so they aren't really meant to carry over. They're actually meant to be enjoyed and then, I almost hate to say this, but thrown away. Yeah. They're just meant to be a seasonal, like a living bouquet kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Great questions, folks. Hey, Ken and Lisa Lane. The Mountain Gardeners will be right back.
The Mountain Gardener, your source for garden advice right for the higher elevation of Arizona with local garden expert and the Mountain Gardener himself, Ken Lane. Listen in every week for Ken's tips, tricks, and techniques that are guaranteed to make a difference in your yard this season.
Hi, Lisa here with the plants of the week and our Arizona Gold Euonymus.
An excellent choice for colored hedges and as tough as they come.
This evergreen displays bold gold, head-high foliage that grows even thicker when sheared.
A single shrub makes a bold statement for just $27, but in rows they make excellent visual and sound barriers.
Waters Garden Center, 1815 Iron Springs Road in Prescott, where people who love bold gold hedges, they love to shop.
Hi, Ken here with the plants of the week and our red clusterberry cotoneaster.
Stunning white flowers cover the shrub in spring, then form red berries.
A large evergreen that is tough, easy to grow, and tolerates poor soil.
So thick when sheared, it's the perfect privacy for hot tubs, secluded entertainment areas, and prying eyes for just $39.
Waters Garden Center, 1815 Iron Springs Road in Prescott, where people who love red-berried cotoneaster, they love to shop.
You're listening to The Mountain Gardener with local expert Ken Lane. Mountain gardening can be challenging, but with Ken's tips, tricks, and garden advice, you'll reap huge rewards. Now welcome back to The Mountain Gardener.
Now I mentioned I would cover pruning. We'll do 6 minutes straight of nothing but pruning. When to start, how to do it, what to do. How about that? So you might want to take out pen and paper real quick, and I can simplify this. Right now, you are pruning. You've got about 2 months to get done your pruning of all fruit trees. Your summer blooming plants like hydrangeas, crepe myrtles, rose of Sharons, those things don't prune your roses and do not prune your lilacs, your spring blooming forsythias, your spring blooming hydrangeas or rhododendrons, your spring blooming azaleas. Anything that blooms in the spring, wait. Don't cut them. They've been forming their buds, and you'll see my lilacs have very large buds on them. And if you start pruning them, you cut all the flowers off. It won't harm the plant, but you put a beautiful spirea in for the spring bloom. Enjoy the bloom, and then you cut them back right after they're done blooming. So a lilac, you're typically pruning back in April, end of March, April, somewhere in there. You trim it right back, and then you fertilize it. It starts flowing, starts growing, starts filling in and looking good. And then in the fall through winter, it starts to set more buds. So that's one mistake I find new folks to a four-season climate make. They start pruning back everything all at once, and they assume it'll all be good. But, well, it will be fine. The plants will be healthy, but you won't get to enjoy the reason you put that flowering quince in, because you cut the flowers off. So watch that one. Summer blooming plants, they prefer to be cut back in the winter. Your fruit trees in the winter, your evergreens, the shrubs in the winter. Now, where do you even begin? Sometimes you're looking at a fruit tree going, oh my gosh, look, it's such a daunting task. It's really, here's what you do. It's a 3-step program. 1, cut back dead limbs, dead branches, anything damaged. Go for that first. So anything that looks like it's bent, dog-legged, cut all that stuff out, and that will open up that plant so you can start to see. Second, you prune back things that are growing to the inside of the plant. Plants need aeration or they'll get diseased and cause issues. They'll get field mice and rats living inside. It just kind of it's nothing but dark and chaos, and you want to open that up so the air and the sunlight can get to the middle of that shrub or that plant or that fruit tree. So go for branches that are growing towards the inside of the plant. Now this really starts to open it up. So you can almost finish younger trees, especially. You can stop pruning right there. You got it covered. Dead or damaged branches, and then things that grow to the middle. Then you're taking it back on, it's just getting too large. If you've got a big fruit tree and you don't want to be on a ladder, we'll cut it back so that you can reach everything on the ground or with a fruit picker or something. If it's got a wild hair, just one branch, it's going crazy into one direction, it's growing into the house, cut that one back. So you can cut up to 1/3 of the foliage mass back in the winter of the year. So now. So that's major. That's a lot of foliage. Now, it may not have leaves on it now, but just visualize where would the leaves be. You can take 1/3 of that branch structure back. So bring it right back. This is really, really important for things like butterfly bush. They're very aggressive. They can grow the size of a garden shed. They're huge. They get way too big. Really, I cut mine back more than 1/3. I cut it back to about hip high. So that then it will grow back way above head high. So it's got that beautiful summer flower on it. It's also called a summer lilac. It's got a fragrant flower. Butterflies really do love it, but most folks let it grow too fast, too large, and they don't bring it back every winter. Now is the time when you do that. Also, your Russian sage. This is a pretty blue shrub. Grows up about hip high or so. That one is very aggressive. I mean, I whacked mine back. I cut it back last week, right almost down to the ground. Maybe 6-8 inches are left, but I want to keep it under control. It just wants to take over the entire yard if you don't control it. So be aggressive on some of those summer bloomers. Look for dead wood, damaged wood. So start with that. Then you're going for branches that grow to the inside of the plant so we can get some aeration, some sunlight, some wind going through there. Otherwise, you get mildew and spotting of the leaves. It just causes issues. Then you're going to go and just shape the plant. Get it back to the shape that you want it to be. If you do it in that order, it's really easy to get a feel for it's less daunting, I guess. And that's something in my head, that's how I approach pruning. Now, I mentioned don't prune roses yet. Now, this is hard for you Californians and the desert, Phoenix folks. You all are used to pruning November, December, January. You're start of winter. We don't do that in the mountains because it can be cold yet. So hasn't been cold so far. Truly bitter cold at night. But it could be or probably will be. You prune back your roses in the month of March. March is when you prune them. You want that structure to protect and keep that frost off of the graft or the heart of that rose. Then you let winter beat it up, and then you come back at it and prune it back in March, fertilize it, and it just starts flushing new growth, sets flowers by Mother's Day. That's kind of your approach with roses. Be right back with Lisa Watersland and her garden tips in just a moment.
The Mountain Gardener, your source for garden advice right for the higher elevation of Arizona with local garden expert and the Mountain Gardener himself, Ken Lane. Listen in every week for Ken's tips, tricks, and techniques that are guaranteed to make a difference in your yard this season.
These tulips are delicious.
We're the cutest mule deers, and we just ate Mrs. Smith's flowers.
We avoid Mrs. Johnson's because she has native plants from Waters Garden Center.
She's got bright red sage, sunny blanket flower, hot pink gara, and a lot more.
They grow like crazy in local soil, and she hardly ever has to water them.
Hummingbirds and bees love natives, but they taste awful to deer.
I sure hope Mrs. Smith doesn't figure that out.
Go native, Waters Garden Center.
Look, if your wife, mom, or dad wants a sweater for Christmas, get them a sweater, not some piece of plastic.
But if someone you truly care about loves her garden, a gift card to Waters makes perfect sense.
Next spring, she can pick out exactly what she was hoping for.
We all know it's not the same thing as a huge hanging basket or a fragrant rose, but hey, it's winter. Gardeners understand.
Waters Garden Center, 1815 Iron Springs Road in Prescott. Also at watersgardencenter.com.
We are back in the studio with Lisa Waterslane. She comes in each week and just has her flair, her garden tips. So getting a different perspective. So it's not all about me, Ken Lane, the mountain gardener, but it's about me and my lovely assistant, beautiful wife and business partner, and wife of my 4 children, and 3 grandchildren.
You
and
still have
growing.
it wrong. I'm not the wife of your 4 children.
Yeah,
I'm
mother.
the mother.
Oh my gosh.
Slow down, dear. Slow down.
I'm ready for some more eggnog.
No more coffee for you.
Anyway, welcome to the studio. What do you got for this week?
Boy, I don't know. After that introduction, it's just all gone. It's all gone. No, so I'm thinking ahead. I'm thinking ahead to after Christmas is done. I love Christmas. Not knocking Christmas. I love Christmas. I love to put the Christmas decorations away.
Okay, that's true. When it's over, there is a line, demarcation line. When you cross it, we ain't coming back.
Yeah. So I'm thinking ahead to my home because there's several things I want to do. And one of them is I want to repaint and I want to move some furniture around and I kind of want to do a little bit of redecorating. So with that, I'm thinking of how I want my rooms to look, how I want my house to feel, especially in the wintertime when you're shut in a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I am realizing that I can use houseplants in my home and really create a different environment. It's much more, it just feels better, feels warmer, feels healthier. And I'm realizing that houseplants really aren't as hard to grow and take care of as I thought they were.
After the Christmas season, you take that tree down, you put the furniture back. It feels rather cavernous. I mean, it's like this big open. You had this beautiful living thing, and you're going, "No, something's off here. I don't know what it is. I must have to repaint the walls." No, it's not that. It's just you had a lot of living stuff, and now you have got just like sofas that smell like dog or something. I don't know, or carpeting that's kind of gotten snowbound or dirty or whatever.
I guess you do get that because you don't have your windows open.
Right.
You're not
That's
going
right.
in and out
Closed
as much,
in.
and you get that closed in feeling.
Yeah. Great.
Whereas is bringing in those house plants really just help freshen everything up. And I'm still going to repaint. But
I'm there with you, dear. It's about time. No, didn't you just repaint 8 years ago?
8 years ago, yeah. But I'm realizing as I think about my rooms and how I'm using my rooms, like one of our front bedrooms, well, it's guest room now, gets a lot of light in there. So I'm realizing, in that room, and it's a warm room, I can put a lot of plants in there, my ferns, things that love the light. Crotons love the light to keep that color in their leaves. So I realized, I can use that room differently and put different plants in there than I can in other parts of my house that probably don't get as much light into them, especially this time of year. They're rather dark, some of them. So realizing what each room, the light that it's getting, the conditions that it has, is helping me determine what plants I want to put in there.
That's good.
If I have like one of our rooms your office downstairs, it's freezing.
It's cold and it's dark. It's a northwest corner. It's just cold. In the summer, it's great.
Yeah,
Winter,
it's cold. So we have to think about, if I have cold sensitive plants, I'm not going to want to put those down there. Or if I have plants that really need the light to help keep their color and be healthy, I'm not going to want those down there because they're just not going to survive well. They're not going to do well. Now, we did put down there a huge euphorbia. which is kind of, I don't know. How would you describe euphorbias? They're not
It's
really
a cactus.
a cactus.
It's like a miniature saguaro cactus.
It's really cool looking.
It's 7 feet tall. It's magnificent. It screams man's office. You want to sleep here in this trundle bed?
Yeah.
Because I might poke your eyes out. I'm not sure. No, go home.
Go home.
No, it's not that.
So it'll be interesting to see how that does down there. That's kind of an experiment, which is okay. It's fun to do things like that. We had a palm down there, which I think you killed almost instantly.
I overwatered it. Totally over. It's so dark. I completely overwatered it. I didn't catch it. Palms. Yeah. Once you overwater them, it's over. There's no recovery. Yeah, it's kind of
So we're learning. We're experimenting with that room, figuring out what it needs. In the other parts of the house, especially plants that are maybe closer to the heater vents, I have to be careful what I'm putting there. I'm not going to put a ficus there because ficus, they're notorious. You look at them wrong and they drop their leaves.
That's right.
So I'm going to put something there that's tough. I'm going to put a pothos or a dracaena, something that I know is not going to fall over dead if it's got a little heat blowing on it.
Would a fiddly leaf fig?
Fiddle leaf.
Yeah, fiddle leaf fig. I'll say that 10 times fast. Would that do okay in a vent place? It's got that big leaf, but it's thick and leathery. I think it would probably do pretty well.
I don't have a whole lot of experience with those, but they tend to be a little more persnickety.
Yeah.
Whereas a dracaena, you could beat it up, abuse it, kick it across the room, and it says, I'm going to grow.
Yeah.
I don't care.
That's true.
Yeah. So, and sometimes you just have to play with it a little bit. I put a huge Aurelia in our house, and I thought for sure there's no way this thing's going to live because it's actually near a heater vent.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, oh, well, I'll try it.
It's called gardening. We like gardening.
But that darn thing has lived.
Yeah, it might outgrow the ceiling.
I know.
Grow its space.
And I thought, there's no way I'm going to keep this thing alive. But it's doing amazingly. But it gets good light through this kind of right near the windows. So it gets good light. And I've learned not to overwater it. I'm almost totally convinced that most people way overwater their houseplants.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, totally, completely, grossly overwater till they struggle, thin, get yellow, drop leaves, and sometimes go forward and die. So it's that kind of overwatering.
Yeah.
Every couple of weeks. What are you watering right now? Because the days are short, but the heater's going.
Yeah, about every 2 weeks.
Really? Even when the heater dries things out, but we've got humidifiers and stuff that kind of help.
But most of the plants that I've chosen are more low water use.
Yeah.
Chinese evergreen, very low water use. ZZ plant, hardly ever water it. Sansevieria, our mother-in-law's tongue, hardly ever water it. I've chosen those plants specifically because I'm horrible at remembering to water.
Yeah.
So, if you're in that boat, pick the right plants. Come down and talk to us and just say, hey, I'm going to have this in a room that I maybe go in once a month. I don't want to fuss with it. And we can help you pick out those right plants. But I'm also growing, this is my other new experiment, a fern. Because I'm horrible with ferns. They grow out wonderfully in the summertime, but I'm going to try one in the house. So been experimenting with that. That one's kind of a hit and miss, but that one needs more water.
It does.
And I'm not doing as well with that one. So, you have to think about yourself and are you good with houseplants? Are you good at remembering to water? Then maybe you could go with some that do want a little more water.
Even if you don't even if you do know how to water, if you are a good gardener, isn't it easier just to have an easy plant? I mean, just go with easy. There are some in the back bedrooms that I think we forget to water for months at a time. Oh, that's right. I got a houseplant in there. Those ZZ plants, those things are tough as nails. I can't believe how good they are.
And they look so good all the time.
So that's one too. If you have a room and you want a plant for it, take a picture of it and bring it in. Yeah. So we've got Ella's out there. She's a master gardener extraordinaire. She's our houseplant guru. She could help you walk right through.
So much about houseplants blows me away. She remembers all the scientific names. Yeah. And I'm like, what is it?
I wrote a garden column. It's going to run in a few weeks going on houseplants, top 10 houseplants. Go, Ella, could you critique this for me? Is this right? Or did I get this right? She made a couple changes. Go, nope, don't do this one. Do this one. Kind of help me. So I'm almost the ghostwriter for her. She wrote it, but I'm going to publish it. But just trying to get the list of the best, the top houseplants. But she's a resource I go to for houseplants.
And
tropicals.
picking the right soil to plant them in, too.
That's right.
Because one that drains well, one somewhat more peat moss and that type of thing in them. So there's a lot that can go into it. You can make it really simple, or if you really want to get into it, we can help you with that, too.
We can go difficult. We can go any level you want us to go to.
That is
Here
right.
Here we go. Great advice, Lisa. Houseplants. After that, Christmas tree's gone. So that's dress up that house. Well, Ken and Lisa Lane and the Mountain Gardeners, we got more for you. Don't change that dial. I'll be right back.
The Mountain Gardener, your source for garden advice right for the higher elevation of Arizona with local garden expert and the Mountain Gardener himself, Ken Lane. Listen in every week for Ken's tips, tricks, and techniques that are guaranteed to make a difference in your yard this season.
Wondering why my garden looks amazing? Well, that's personal. The personal garden shopper service at Waters Garden Center, that is. Before talking with my personal shopper, I had no idea which plants would be best for me. But now my garden is bursting with flowers and buzzing with hummingbirds. Just go to watersgardencenter.com, click on Shop, and choose Personal Garden Shopper. A Waters Garden expert will pick the perfect plants for you, personally. The Personal Garden Shopper, only at Waters Garden Center in Prescott.
So now I had mentioned throughout the week that this is going to be we're going to mention the plants that look really good for the holidays. And so I walked the nursery yard, went through and went, what looks great right now that you could plant that would kind of celebrate, that have either reds or berries or they're evergreen, some kind of striking feature they have while the holidays are going on. And I just made a quick list. And these are things I've got growing in my own yard or I've grown them over the years. They just perform really well in the mountains, no matter your elevation. Got to look at, some of them need sun, some need shade. You might look at that. But basically, here's the list. And you have to start. I mean, the number one plant that screams, I love the holidays, are hollies. So any of your hollies really look good. They've got the classic evergreen holly leaf. They put red berries on. Here's one to watch, though. Watch for plants. Not all hollies put red berries on, but if you want the holidays, red berries kind of announce the holidays. So look for blue girl, blue boy. They make how do I explain this? Hollies are actually male and female. And so the females are really pretty. They're full, robust. I mean, you just look at them and go, wow, she's gorgeous. And the males are kind of scrawny and thin, but they're the ones that pollinate so the females can get the berries on it. Well, what we do is we plant or we graft a male and a female on the same plant so that you get the beauty of the female variety of holly, but that you've got a male in there someplace just enough for the bees to pollinate when they're in bloom to make sure that she flowers and then cross-pollinates and forms that berry. So blue girl, blue boy, holly is the best one. A companion to that looks very similar to holly, the leaf is exactly the same, is goshiki holly. This is an oriental variety of holly that has a creamy leaf to it. It doesn't have as many berries, but it's very bright. This is one, if you want a holly-looking plant by your front door in a container where it's kind of got that overhang, it's rather dark. This is a bright, cheery evergreen that just loves growing in that shadier area. Right outside. Looks fabulous. You could plant it right now and it would be going, oh, I'm so happy. Oh, it's cool. Oh, it's so nice. But it just loves, put little bows with it, put little lights into it. All of a sudden it goes, I'm ready for the holidays. But goshiki hollies are a great choice. You can even companion plant those. They would look good together. The dark foliage of the blue girl holly with the goshiki holly, that lighter cream color. Oh, it's beautiful. Some others. I guess the number one seller, I got to get that one out there. The number one, by far, probably 2-1 seller is Alberta spruce. It's a cute little dwarfed variety of spruce tree, evergreen. People dress them up, put lights and bows and little tiny ornaments on it. This is a dwarf variety. This is one you put by the front door, and it just stays that size. for almost its entire life. It's just such a slow grower. You put in that raised bed, walking up to the front, pillars to your house, or in a big pot by the front garage door. Dress them up with some pansies and kale and calendulas at the front, at the base of it. It just says holidays. But lots of folks use that to decorate a back patio, a deck. So if you want a living evergreen that looks like a miniature Christmas tree, that's the one. That's the number one seller. Now, it's too small for me, so I prefer the Spartan juniper. Spartan junipers are a larger version, very shapely, very Christmas tree looking. It's a native, so it's a related to our native at least. It's a juniper without all the pollen issues that our big natives have, but it dresses up really nice. So we've got several of these in a row that you can light up, decorate. It's just nice, rich, dark, deep green. It just looks its best in the winter, right now when the holidays are going. So Spartan junipers, there's a lot of different junipers you can use, but that one really looks good. Red clusterberry cotoneaster. Red clusterberry, so big wads, almost like baseball size forms of red berries, just clusters of red berries. This is a big plant. It's evergreen. It gets up at least head high to 8 feet tall or so. Thick green. We use it for privacy screens. But for berries, for cutting branches and bringing them indoors and using them for center pieces, and just the red berries are really pretty. And it's so easy to grow and drought hardy. Bordering on native. A native, true native, like a manzanitas. They're starting to bloom. They're here at the garden center. They're pushing new growth. They're evergreen. That red bark, it's just really pretty. A nice big shrub up to about chest high or so. Silverberry, gilded edge silverberries, another native or companion plant with manzanitas. Evergreen. It's like the native one, but this one we figured out how to put a gold edge around the leaf. So it's a very bright, very cheery. We're at the winter solstice this week. It's the shortest day of the year. It can be kind of dark. So sometimes to have those brighter colored foliage, it's really striking out in the yard. So I've got several of these in my own yard, and I don't water them. I trim them back a little bit this time of year, but they take care of themselves. It's a great, great native that looks great for the holidays. What else we got here? Nandina would be another one that goes with that. So I've got nandinas on either side of the garage door, just pretty evergreen foliage. But the beauty with nandina, if it's in full sun, it turns this bright, Christmassy red. The foliage is not green, it's red. Very pretty, and is famous for a red berry that forms on there. So it's a red berry, red foliage. It just says, I'm happy in the holidays. Yet it's an evergreen. It always looks good. Another benefit with nandina, or heavenly bamboo, is that the animals, so deer, rabbits, javelina, they do not bother nandina. They'll leave it alone. So it's a great one if you're right there in that forest interface. Some shade lovers. Oh, let me finish berries. I've got two more. Pyracantha. Now, your grandparents grew pyracantha, but it forms red or orange berries. Very tough, evergreen. The birds love that plant. So if you're into birds and attracting more birds for roosting, or more birds, just the robins will come in and eat the berries and just love it. So that's a good choice. Very tough, very drought hardy. And another native is white snowberry. Now this one's not evergreen, but it dropped its foliage, a really pretty gold color. And when it's done, it has this white berry through winter. Very big. It's like bigger than a blueberry. White, bright white, like clusters of white berries. And that's a native, so it's very drought hardy, very tough, very good plant for here. But if you like the berry kind of plants, that's a great one. Those are my berry selections. And then a couple shade-loving plants. North side, underneath the patio, underneath an overhang. That's where you want to plant these. So ivy. So English ivy. It's aggressive, but if you can contain it, like I grow a couple of them in containers, and I have them growing into forms. They're very pretty. And then you decorate the form, you decorate them up, and they put lights in them. They're really pretty. So it's a good one for the holidays. Camellia. Yes, there is a hardy variety of camellia. So you Northern California folks, you love your tropical camellias. Well, that one won't grow here, at least not outdoors. But there's a ice princess that will grow. It comes in pink, apple blossom, and I think a red or real dark pink. Very good evergreen, and it's one of the very first plants to bloom. It can actually bloom during the holidays, although usually it's more towards Valentine's. But it's just a pretty big flower buds, dark, rich green. It's a great plant for the mountains of Arizona. Lastly, you've got euonymus or winter creeper or winter gem euonymus. These are low-growing evergreens. So they grow up, I'd say less than knee-high, rich green to them. What happens with winter creeper, though, is they turn this reddish purple color. So the foliage actually changes color. It holds the foliage, doesn't drop it, but it just changes it. So it has this real bright holiday look to it. It's very pretty. A companion with that would be yews. So you folks from the East Coast, you know the Hicks yews, the upright yews or the spreading yew. It's an evergreen. It's not like a pine tree. It's got a needle to it, but it's shorter and stubbier, but it has red berries it forms up and down the stems as well. So you get an evergreen that has short stems with bright red flower or berries to it. It's really pretty. Any could be planted now. All of them could be enjoyed for holidays to come this year and forward. Be right back.
The Mountain Gardener, your source for garden advice right for the higher elevation of Arizona with local garden expert and the Mountain Gardener himself, Ken Lane. Listen in every week for Ken's tips, tricks, and techniques that are guaranteed to make a difference in your yard this season.
Hi, Lisa here with the plants of the week and our Arizona Gold euonymus.
An excellent choice for colored hedges and as tough as they come.
This evergreen displays bold gold, head-high foliage that grows even thicker when sheared.
A single shrub makes a bold statement for just $27, but in rows they make excellent visual and sound barriers.
Waters Garden Center, 1815 Iron Springs Road in Prescott, where people who love bold gold hedges, they love to shop.
Hi, Ken here with the plants of the week and our red clusterberry cotoneaster.
Stunning white flowers cover the shrub in spring, then form red berries.
A large evergreen that is tough, easy to grow, and tolerates poor soil.
So thick when sheared, it's the perfect privacy for hot tubs, secluded entertainment areas, and prying eyes for just $39.
Waters Garden Center, 1815 Iron Springs Road in Prescott, where people who love red-berried cotoneaster, they love to shop.
You're listening to The Mountain Gardener with local expert Ken Lane. Mountain gardening can be challenging, but with Ken's tips, tricks, and garden advice, you'll reap huge rewards. Now welcome back to The Mountain Gardener.
In the gardens, you can start pruning. You have through end of February, middle of March to really get your pruning done. So don't feel like you have to rush, but it's time to prune back perennials, get those shrubs back under control. Well, I mentioned fruit trees. The shrubs, I do hold off on my evergreen shrubs like red-tip photinia, silverberries, euonymus, those hedges. I'll wait, and that's the last thing that I prune back myself because they can look a little butchered when you get done. If you're really cutting them back heavy, I want to enjoy that evergreen foliage. And so I know they're going to flush growth the end of February, first part of March. So I'll wait to prune them back right before then. So if I have a big limb that's kind of looking, cut back heavy, it'll quickly flush new growth right after I get done pruning, and it'll be gone. I won't see all that cut back on the top of that plant. So that's just a little insight, just what I do. Remember, my name's Ken. I've been talking to my wife, Lisa. We're just friends. We're neighbors talking over the fence on here's some things that have worked in my own yard. I think they'll also work in your yard as well. That's something. We are going to start our garden classes. So they start, let me see if I can pull that up. I think January 19th. We begin our 2019 series of free garden classes. Every Saturday we have a garden class here at the Garden Center. Again, it's a little bit different gardening here, so we try to offer this so that you can up your game quickly. And the very first one, January 19th, is Happy, Healthy Houseplants. That'll be at 9:30 in the back greenhouse. It'll be nice and toasty warm. We might even do a walking tour inside this new houseplant store we put together. It's ginormous, it's beautiful, it's glorious. And Ella, my houseplant buyer or manager, is going to actually teach that. It should be really good. She's fascinating. The 26th, it's wildflowers. Ready, set, grow. It's time to start putting those wildflower seeds out so that they have time to germinate, scarify. There's some things that they need that winter cold, freeze and thaw to really come up next spring. So January is your time. We're going over how to do it. And then February 2nd, advanced landscape pruning for garden success. We'll be going deep into how to act, physical examples of how to prune. Then gardening for newcomers, and the list keeps going on through all of spring. Take a look at watersgardencenter.com, and you'll see a big classes button right on the very front of the web page. Take a look at that. We'll also post those on our Facebook page under events, so that's there for you as well. We're there to help you be better. Now, just kind of what's happening. So my staff, I let them go home. They let them play, go have family time, vacation. So I give them off between Christmas and New Year's. So Waters Garden Center, we're not going to be open. I'm not even going to answer the phone. So you'll get this very pleasant message saying, hey, we're just closed down. We'll be back January 2. So we're going to close down. It's just, it tends to revitalize the staff and myself. So it's just a great time to spend with family and friends and go take that trip you want. I know some folks are going off to Hawaii. Some are going out to see family in California. Just they're going all over the place. So I give them that time off to go do that with. So don't come see us. I hate to say that to you, but I think there's a time in winter when a garden center can and should be closed, at least for us. So it helps us go on. But we're back at it January 2nd. Shoot an email. I'll be answering those. I'll be doing Facebook posts. I'll be answering those on the fly. So I'm available that way. Come to think of it, that's also a great way if you want to ask a garden question, a pruning question. Take a photo, shoot it off to me, message it through Facebook or email it. You can tell a lot. You can only get so close with a picture, a digital picture. Sometimes it's best to come right in. Let's bring the picture in on your phone, your iPad. We can do a lot with that. May I just wish my Christian friends the merriest of Christmas. To all others, the happiest of holidays. Be safe out there and don't drink too much eggnog, folks.
The Mountain Gardener, your source for garden advice right for the higher elevation of Arizona, with local garden expert and the Mountain Gardener himself, Ken Lane. Listen in every week for Ken's tips, tricks, and techniques that are guaranteed to make a difference in your yard this season.
Look, if your wife, mom, or dad wants a sweater for Christmas, get them a sweater, not some piece of plastic.
But if someone you truly care about loves her garden, a gift card to Waters makes perfect sense.
Next spring, she can pick out exactly what she was hoping for.
We all know it's not the same thing as a huge hanging basket or a fragrant rose, but hey, it's winter. Gardeners understand.
Waters Garden Center, 1815 Iron Springs Road in Prescott. Also at watersgardencenter.com.
Okay, maybe after decades of the same fruitcake exchange, it's time to start a new holiday tradition.
A living Christmas tree from Waters Garden Center can be decorated and enjoyed for a lifetime, not just a season.
When the holiday festivities end, gather family and friends and plant your tree together for years of enjoyment. Or Waters will plant it for you, guaranteed.
As your family tree grows, have a tree that grows with your family. From Waters Garden Center, 1815 Iron Springs Road in Prescott.
You've been listening to local garden expert Ken Lane, the owner of Waters Garden Center in Prescott. Join him each week as he answers timely garden questions unique to the area. He can be found throughout the week at Waters Garden Center, located in Prescott at 1815 Iron Springs Road. Thanks for tuning in to The Mountain Gardener.